Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Let me make sure that everything is working here. I believe we have audio. Video looks good. Let's see if I can actually switch into my different video modes. Oh, and actually, let me pull up the chat too so I can see if anybody's on. I don't think anybody is, but we're going to try. Yeah, looks like camera angles are working. So it looks like we're good. I do see one person is on, so if you feel free to say hi, if you want to pop in and just let me know what you're up to. So today, for this live stream, I'm not going to be doing as much gaming. I mean, I might, depending on if I can get this fixed. But basically, I am working on a 3D printing project, and unfortunately, my 3D print project is not going super well. So let me just kind of show off where it's at right now. Basically, I'm working on a print. It's a Boo print from Super Mario Brothers. It's something that I custom designed. And I was using two pieces of equipment to make that work. So essentially, I have my 3D printer, but then I was also using something called a mosaic palette, which if you're not familiar with the mosaic palette basically is a filament splicer. So I had a special type of filament that's known as poly support, and essentially I was going to try to print with poly support and normal PLA, so I'd be able to just easily tear away the supports. The issue with that is that there's some catastrophic issue that happened with the mosaic palette. It gave a weird command to my 3D printer or like air it out, and the print head ended up crashing. So normally when that happens, I'm able to just kind of reset the print, get everything going again. But I noticed that I was having some issues, like potentially with one of the motors, or even with like really bad, how do I describe it? Like basically the motors are slipping. Like it shows like it's not like going to the same spots. So at first I thought it was the belts, tried fixing that. Then I was noticing some issues with the print head, so I ended up clearing out the print head. But through the whole process, after just kind of trying to tune the printer, it was not working. And Oh, am I back streaming? This work again? Hold on. Let's check to see if we're up and running here. We'll go to Twitch, stream manager, activity feed, followers. Okay, I think. Yeah, there we go. It looks like we're back. I don't know what happened. Now apparently my internet doesn't want to work. I don't know what's going on with this, but it's either an issue with Restream or whatever. But anyways, so back to what was happening. So essentially I found out like there's some issue with the motors, and like the printer is actually like slipping. And so I'm like, all right, I don't want to fix the motors. I would rather try to like make it hobble along while I fix it. I did order a new 3D printer, which should hopefully be in within the next like couple weeks. It's supposed to be here sometime in October, but we got a whole month. So hopefully it arrives sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, in the mail today came some new print heads because of the one issue. So I ended up getting a clog, cleared the clog, whatever, put the nozzle back in, and now plastic is leaking out of the top of it, which is super unusual because it's tight. It's not like it's loose or anything like that. But it was essentially leaking out plastic, and you can kind of see some of the areas on the print. They just don't look particularly good. They split out. The front piece of the tongue kind of fell over. Oh, wrong transition. There we go. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to switch out the nozzle to see if that fixes the problem. Not entirely, but at least I need to get this print up and running so I can at least get this out and then work on other prints, potentially using some of my resin printers, because I want to try to get this done just for a giveaway that I'm doing, and it's a Halloween related print, so I would rather try to get this done sooner rather than later. And actually, just to kind of show off the print that I'm working on, let's do there we go, Ultimate Cura. Let's see if I can show off some of the print here. Or actually, I might even be able to share one of the pictures. Wrong album, recent. Yeah, I don't have any of my print settings. I mean, I'm gonna have to fix it anyways when I do this, but I will at least share this photo. Can I airdrop this? Oh, hold on, we having issues. Let's see if we can do this. Actually, let me throw up the chat overlay too, just in case anyone decides to drop in and actually share some comments everybody else can see. We'll try to airdrop this. Cool, we'll turn on the Wi-Fi too. There we go. I was hardwired in, but I'm having internet issues anyway, so well, it doesn't matter. I don't know if that's gonna fix it. Okay, here we go. So this is essentially the print that I'm working on. Throw it over to the side here and share my screen. There we go. So this is the print that I'm working on. This is something I designed in Nomad Sculpt. It's Boo from Super Mario. Should be a fairly easy print, but unfortunately I've tried printing this like 40 or 50 times in the last 3 days, and it just doesn't want to seem to work. So we're gonna close that out and go back to the main screen here. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up the printer. I'm gonna transfer us over there. We'll start working on it, and basically I need to melt the plastic off the hot end, take the hot end off, probably not after, I guess it cools, but I have to try to do it potentially when it's hot. That's not gonna be fun. But we'll give it a shot. And then the other thing that I need to do is reorient the print and see if that works, because I kind of had it printed, you know, it might be worth going back. So I kind of had it printed where it was like this, basically laying flat, and then the tongue itself was kind of the first thing that's touching the print bed, and that seems to be the part that's failing the most. I tried printing it like orienting him vertically, so his face was kind of up top and his tail was kind of towards the bottom. That did not work. The tail broke off in a similar fashion that the tongue did. And I just think a lot of the issues that I'm having right now is just related to the slipping of the print and the motors. I've tried tightening everything and it just doesn't want to work. So let's go ahead and go to the printer. I'll start turning it on. And then once we kind of get all that stuff figured out, I'll go back to Ultimaker. I'll share my screen and kind of show how I think I can orient this print to make it work. But let's go ahead and do that. And of course, I'm gonna have the music on while we're doing this because, you know, chill hop. We need some good jams while we're working through some shitty issues that I don't want to be working on. But thus is the life of a 3D printer and 3D maker and all this other stuff. But let's go ahead and jump into it. And I might not be able to see your comments right away just because I'm away from my computer. I do have it pulled up, so hopefully I'll see something, but we got a lot going on here. And of course, these different nozzles that I got, I have a whole bunch of them now, ranging from anywhere from 0.4 to, I think, what is it? I think 0.8. There's some pretty beefy ones in here, so I can do like bigger prints if I wanted to as well down the line. But I think my big issue is just trying to fix it and get this to work. That's the main priority. And again, it's one of those things where, you know, so the printer I have is an Anycubic Chiron printer. And the tough part is that when you get into the game of trying to fix these printers, I mean, I paid something like $400 for this printer. New motors, new belts, new anything is a few $100s. So it just gets to a point where it doesn't make sense to necessarily spend a ton of time to fix them when you can just buy a new printer, get the new printer in, and then I will try to incrementally fix this. I should have another camera in here, potentially set up. That would actually be a really cool setup. I should try to do that. All right, so maybe I'll do that while the printer is heating up. First things first, let's see if I can get this reoriented. Axis move. Ooh, that did not sound good. Okay, so that's up there. Filament, we'll see if I can. Okay, so while it's heating up, I'll take this down, take all these pieces off. Probably should be wearing gloves because this stuff is not a ton of fun to be working with. Oh, that was actually not as bad as I thought. Thought that would take a hot minute to do that. Yeah, as you can kind of see, there's all these like dribbles of plastic on here, and that just came from the hot end. I personally think that the hot end is busted. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just try to diagnose some stuff. I think the insane part about all of this was just how bad everything went. You know, I've not been a super big fan of the Mosaic palette for filament slicing solutions. It never wants to work properly. And so it's just become like a major hassle to try to get anything working with it. There we go. Okay, that's going. Let's see. Okay, so hot end, as you can tell, is being dumb. It's literally just all the plastics coming out, and I'm not even pushing any of the filament through, which is nuts. But we'll see if we can do this. Oh yeah, there's filament all over that. Oh. Doesn't want to come off. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can show you. So I wish I could take this out and make it like a little bit nicer, but there's a whole bunch of, ooh, this is getting hot. Probably need some gloves. But basically there's a whole bunch of filament that's coming out of the top of that. So we'll retract this a little bit. Not all the way, just enough to get it out of the hot end. And there we go, that's out of the nozzle now. Let's see. Stop this. Let's cool this down now. I don't know, this Anycubic printer, like, it's tough for me to recommend it just because of the print quality of it is also, it's never been good. It's never been like good. So like if you're trying to really get into 3D printing, it's not really that great of a 3D printer. But where it really shines is when you're trying to, if you're doing cosplay prints. Like cosplay prints with this thing are absolutely fantastic. I love it. I think it's great for that because when you're trying to print bigger pieces, I mean, the print bed on this thing is massive. I think it was like 500 by 480 or 450 by 450. So it's like one of the larger printers you can buy, and at a price of $400, you really can't argue that. But with the newer printers that are coming out, so the new printer that I ordered is an Elegoo Neptune 4 Max. So it's slightly smaller than this printer, but like it has the Clipper firmware in it. So because it uses Clipper, the print speed is absolutely insane. Like I think the top print speed is 500 millimeters a second, which I know you don't necessarily print on that print speed, but basically like even the normal print speed on that is like 250 millimeters a second. My print speed on this guy right here is no joke. Like I think I print at 30 millimeters a second and the quality is still bad. So printing larger prints like Pikachu, if you've seen my other, like my actual other channels and everything like that, like Pikachu was almost like a 7-day print, I think, 5-7 day print. And, you know, it was a 0.4 nozzle at 30 millimeters a second, and there's still a ton of cleanup. So it took 2 weeks to basically build them, paint them, do all that stuff. Total. Let's see if I can get this guy off. Gotta watch out so I don't get my hands here. Oh yeah, that's gross. That's nice. Yeah, look at that. So this is gonna get hot real fast. Well, let's see if I can show this off a little bit. I know, it's tough to see. Yeah, that's pretty gross. And that's all plastic. That's not even, that's not grime, that's not heat, that's literally just plastic coming out of it. So let's see if, I'm gonna grab a towel here, see if we can kind of make this a little bit better. I don't want to use those towels. One sec, I will be back. Grab some actual towels. Some junky towels. Need junky towels to hold this on to. Oh yeah, that's not good. That looks pretty gross. All right, let's see if I can change the axis here. X. Okay, let's at least try to clean this up a little bit. Get kind of the junkiness off. The sad part is this is not the first, what's it called? Heat block and all this other stuff that I've lost. This is actually the second one on this printer that I've gone through. So I'm trying to keep this up and running at least a little bit longer. On the first one, I had it where I had a major clog. And so it's hard to tell and it's hard to see on this, but basically I have the PTFE tube here. This tube is actually separated by a twist tie setup. So basically it's just the right distance out. And when I was working with the mosaic palette to get that all set up, I had to replace this or get it moved. So I had to take it out. So I actually had to clip the little twist tie thing that was holding it together. And so when I put the PTFE tube back in, it went too far, it heated up and then it melted inside the block. And that was the end of that block. So I had to do a whole rebuild of that, take it out and fix it. And that did not work out so well. Let's see if this is still kind of hot. I gotta be careful because I don't want to burn myself. But let's also take a look here, see how bad it is. I mean, it doesn't look great, but again, we're just trying to get this printer to a good spot where it's good enough to run. Hobble along so I can get some real fixes in place for it. So this is what nobody tells you about 3D printing. There's a lot of the stuff that happens with these printers. You know, they're tough to diagnose sometimes, and especially if you're new to 3D printing, it can be a huge problem and tough to figure out. Because you got to figure out the firmware, you got to figure out the software. Sometimes it's a software issue, sometimes it's a hardware issue. And when you get into those types of issues, then it just becomes a solid pain in the ass to fix. But it is what it is. Don't be wrong, love 3D printing, but it can be a very, very frustrating hobby. So I don't always recommend it for everybody, but I do think if you're trying to get into engineering or building or anything along those lines, this is an amazing hobby when stuff works. Hey, I think we're back. Dude, I don't know what's been going on with my internet lately. It's been such a pain in the butt. It just keeps dropping out. Anyways. Okay. Let's see if this works. So we'll get our filament in ring again. See if this partially fixes the issue. And actually, while we're doing that, I'm going to film a quick thing for TikTok. Oh, hot. Still hot. These things stay hot for quite a while, so be careful. I have chef's fingers now at this point, so should be all right. All right, here we go. We're going to record this. Yeah, there we go. Replace the first part of the hot end, and it looks gross. That is so gross. It was literally leaking out of the top. Check that out. Plastic up there, so it must have broke somehow or melted. I don't quite know what happened, but that was causing the print failure. Let's see what else we got. Go to my actual recording stuff. Unforeseen circumstances. A lot is going on. The problem on the top of the hot. Okay. Time for the next one. Okay. Got the new hot end in. Looks a lot cleaner. Hopefully this does not blow up in my face, but it's heating up now and I'll run some plastic through it and we'll see if it works. All right, we're at 230. Filament in. Oh, all the smoke. Oh, there's a coating on it. Should be wearing a mask on this stuff. Am I supposed to pre-treat these or something? Oh, yeah. Let's see if I stop it now. It's still leaking out, but it's not nearly as bad as what it was. I think the plastic just needs to clear out. Oh, it's still going. I don't like that very much. Yeah, it just seems to be oozing out. I'm not really sure why that is. Anyways, all right, let's see if we can fix. There's really not much I can do about that at the moment, other than taking the whole thing apart, and I don't want to take the whole thing apart. So let's go ahead, we'll switch it back. We'll leave that on. I do need the memory card. Okay, so we'll stop. We'll let this cool for now while it's being fixed, while I'm kind of in the process. We'll come back to me here. Hi, welcome. Welcome world to my live stream. Okay, kind of feel like Uncle Jesse at the moment. I've been watching his live streams on some of the new printers he's been getting, and I'm super stoked for the Neptune 4 Max. That's actually what inspired me to get it. I know he hasn't done his full review on it, but I've seen a couple of people play around with that printer, and it looks insane. Like Elegoo with their Neptune series of printers is crazy. Like I have their resin printers and their resin printer tech, and it's just so good. It's just so good, and it works. And I like that it works. But let me jump to the next screen and show this off. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna take the chat overlay off so everybody can see this as I'm doing it. Not that really anybody's watching, but we will give it a shot. Okay, open this up. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Can I move it out of the way? Okay, actually I'm gonna move my screen out of the way for 2 seconds. Let's do, where's Boo? Boo fixed. Here we go. Open it up. Throw him back over here. Okay, so as you can see, we got a lot of room that we can play with. So I do kind of want to make him bigger. But you know what, we're going to change the orientation a little bit because I kind of want, what failed last time, did that work? Yeah, so the tongue is what really failed last time. So I figured if he's kind of on the bed like that, it's not going to fail as much, is kind of what I hope. I don't know if this is really going to work, but you know, it is what it is. We test it out, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Sometimes, especially in large prints, you could have a multi-day fail, and it sucks, but you move on. But anyways, so we will do that, and we will scale. Let's see, how big can we scale this guy? Whoa, okay. Mouse, you're drunk. Can we actually move this up? Of course, he's not going to be that big. That's not the size that we want to go for. We just want it. Mouse, are you drunk? Undo. My mouse is apparently drunk, and I have no idea why. Okay. There it is. I don't know if I like it being that close on the edges, though, so maybe we'll scale them down. Just hey, I think we're back. Content label. No, I don't need any of that. Okay. Done. The crazy part is, like, come on, I basically toned it down from my last live stream because of this issue, and now it's like having issues again. I gotta get my internet figured out. This is just absurd that this is happening with my internet, especially because it's just started recently as I'm trying to do streaming again. But anyways, let's go back to our little print setup here. So I'm gonna change the infill density. We're gonna do 15%. I did 10 because I wanted to try to save some time on the print, but I think that might also be causing what's failing. Printing temperature, kind of want to go up on the printing temperature to see if that helps fix it. Maybe like 205. Build plate is fine. Travel, print speed. Generate support, support everywhere. I was doing lines. I might just change this to grid and see what that does. I don't have any dual extrusion, and I don't need like a highly detailed print. This guy's gonna be massive, so I need to basically sand him anyways. So I don't think there's any point in that. But we'll go ahead. I think these settings look pretty good. We'll slice them and see what comes out. And hopefully the supports come out a little bit better. That's my goal. But, you know, there's no guarantees that this is going to work. I hope it works. You know, you just, sometimes you run into issues and it just doesn't work. And that's fine. That is fine. We do this for fun and learning, not necessarily because we want it to be perfect every single time. Running through. I'll be honest, the last time I did this slice, it took forever for it to work. Forever. Okay, 5 days, 17 hours, 10 minutes. I think I can accept that. It's going to use a lot of filament. Luckily, so the one good part about this guy over here is that he has a filament runout sensor. So if it runs out, I should be able to restart the print. And I have tons of filament. So we're going to save this to disk. Can I move this out of the way so not everybody can see what my computer looks like? Is it going to work? We're having issues. What are we having issues with? Don't tell me this got corrupted somehow. Okay, instead of using my dock, we're going to use the one that is directly connected to my computer. See if that picks it up. Yes, that worked. Those are gone. So let me try this again. Save to disk. Change this to boo fixed one. Okay. I think we're good there. Make sure it's saved. Fixed one. Yup. Okay, we're gonna clear that. Okay, we're clear. So let's go ahead and go back to our printer and see if we're rocking and rolling. And I can close out of Ultimaker. Okay, so there you go. As we can see, back to the printer. Let me fix the camera here a little bit. This is looking a little bit off. There we go. Okay, so SD card in. Don't need to home it. We just need to return it. We'll print. Boo fixed one. Okay. That's heating up. Let's see if it fixed it. Actually, while we're doing that, waiting for it to heat up. And we're gonna film a quick TikTok here. Okay, so with the nozzle fixed, I'm gonna try, well, I went ahead and refixed my model. Now, as you can tell, it is Boo from Super Mario. And he's gonna be massive. But I got this on the printer. It's already saved on the SD card, so let's go ahead and get this going. Okay, that's done. Camera angle 3, we're going. Honestly, what I should do is I have one of the bigger nozzles. I should try a bigger nozzle print, speed up the print time. God, I have a 1.0 too. That would be crazy, crazy huge. 0.4, I could do like a 0.8. We'll see. We'll see if, because I'm kind of want to see if this fixes it. I don't know if I want to try experimenting with different nozzle sizes as this guy isn't working, you know? I feel like experimenting with nozzle sizes is something you do once you got your printer dialed in again. And I think that's kind of the one downside about 3D printers too, is like there's this, you know, there's a lot of dialing in that needs to happen. And it's not necessarily difficult, but anytime you change something, you can expect to have failed prints. Like it's very rare that you just replace a single thing and it just ultimately starts working. That's never been my experience with 3D printers, and I've been 3D printing for at least the last 10 years. Not always on a consistent basis, but you know, I started out with the Robo 3D. Don't know if anyone ever took a look at one of those or saw one of those, but those printers were old school. No auto leveling. You had to sit there with the sheet of paper to get this going. Not anymore. Come on, printer. Okay, the print bed looks like it's done. Now the nozzle's heating up. Yeah, but like I was saying, I fixed the, because I think this uses an E3D like setup, and so I had to replace that on like the first time around when I was using this with the Mosaic palette, and that was a pain in the butt. Luckily, this printer came with 2. So I think they kind of know that there's issues with this printer, and so they just give you one by default, any 3D hot end, but I don't know how much I like those with this printer. The other part that's kind of a downside, and it's tough to see on this, but back here, so there is no supports. There's like the actual screws that are back here that raise and level the bed. But on some of the newer printers, there's like actual arms that come down the back and like attach to the back of the printer. And those are supposed to be for stabilization, and there's no stabilization on this, which is kind of a shame. But again, it's just one of those things. I got this printer because it was A, inexpensive, and B, it's extremely large. I didn't necessarily get it for like high quality prints, because most of the stuff you do for cosplay gets changed out pretty much. Like, or anything you do for cosplay, you have to finish it anyways. So at that point, it's not even worth getting high detail prints unless you like want to try to save yourself sanding time. But then again, like if that's the case, you could get things like resin printers that are much higher quality and don't require as much sanding. But there's always the trade-off on resin prints. A, resin is more expensive, and B, they're not as strong as like FDM printed parts. It's not making a great noise, but Are we printing or are we failing? It doesn't look like anything's coming out. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, it's pretty light though. Is this like grinding up against the bed? Okay, that looks a little bit better. I probably should have done a calibration print before I did this. But I used the same size nozzle, so I just kind of assumed that it would work. Which might not be a great assumption, but... yeah, no, it's still clogging up. Let's get a calibration going on this. Tools, filament. Actually, we'll do axis first. Okay. So print bed is cleaned off, kind of. And looks like there isn't any clogs, so I think we just need to do some calibrations, Jeff, which I probably should have done at the get-go. But we'll do it now. Just wait till that kind of cools off a little bit. Where are we at? All right, 190 something. That's good. Okay. Looks like we're coming down a little bit. Gotta be careful here and not burn myself. Again, I've done this so many times, I've burned myself so many times. Be careful though. Don't do as I say or as I do, do as I say. However that saying goes. Okay. Okay. That's in. I still think it needs a couple of minutes to cool down. So the thing I just attached is actually the probe that's used for bed leveling. That comes with the Anycubic Chiron. And so basically, I'll show you as it runs through its calibration process, what it needs to do. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, I think we're in a spot where it should be good. I'm gonna go to tools, leveling. Looks like that's going, and we're gonna probe. Okay. Now it's gonna go through its calibration. So this takes a few minutes. Actually, while that's running, I'm gonna sit down because your boy's got back problems. His back can't take standing for that long. If you follow any of my other social media, anything, and not just Twitch, you'll see what I'm talking about. But had a back surgery go totally sideways, and ever since then, standing for long periods of time is not really my jam. But that's okay. The other thing I was thinking about is, with the issue, I wonder if the collision with the bed damaged the wheels. Because that totally could cause that. Actually, while this is going, let's maybe, I'll pull this up because I kind of want to look at the preview and see what the print's going to look like. And sometimes it's important to see like what the layers are doing. Yeah, I mean, this looks a lot better than what it was. Still be interesting to see if this part fails. That front just doesn't, I don't know if it's gonna survive. But I did change it from lines to something a little sturdier. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to get off, but you know what? That's sometimes what you gotta do to make it work. Tough to say. Again, sometimes it's just trial and error. Originally, when I was doing this print, the first time I set it up, the software wanted to do 25% for the infill, and I'm like, 25%? Why would you want to do 25%? Like, that's nutty. All right, let's see. Okay, calibration is done. Now we gotta stand back up. See what we're rocking with. Okay. Let's see, do we wanna do Hi Schubert? Hi Choo-Choos. We got Chew the dog here who's joining us. Let's see, tools, leveling. Oh wow, okay, so this nozzle is a little different in size. That's good to know. I thought it was the exact same size, was broadcasted as the same size, but it is not the same size. the offset is different by just a little bit. Okay, we're actually going to do this. Axis, we're gonna go probe out. It's always a tough one for me. I might have to use this tool here. Damage it though. It's the only thing. Doesn't seem to want to come out. What do I got to get this thing out? You know, I might be able to use this. Actually, while we're at it, let's go back to our original camera angle. There we go. Okay. Don't want to break this, but this does not want to come out. There we go. Now it's out. Okay. Let's change this up. Oh, don't want to home it. Let's do a print. We're going to do a level print. Level test. Okay. So this is where we're going to see if this worked out or not. I don't have too much hope at this point, but it is what it is. All right, heating up. That's the other downside about this printer, is that it takes forever for it to heat up. But that is okay. Boop, boop. Come on, heat up. Come on, printer. $191. So this level test print that's for this printer is actually comes on by default. It shows like 195 is the hot end temp. It's a little low for this filament, but we're gonna try it. I think the settings for this are supposed to be, it's like 190 to 230 or 220. And I normally do like 200, and I actually just bumped it up to 205. So we'll see if this works or not. Still doesn't look like that's printing. I think I need to back it off a little bit. Leveling. Oh, advanced setting. Let's do a little bit more on the extreme side. So I'm gonna do minus 1750. It was at minus 18. It's a little extreme, but I want to see if I can find kind of the sweet spot. I'm going to try to go a little bit too high on this. Little test print. I think the print head is just too close to the bed, and so it's not moving. Come on, printer. Cools down so fast, but heats up so slow. All right, round 2. Ooh, 1750, way too high. Stop. Yup. Knew that was a little extreme, but that's okay. So we'll do leveling, advanced setting. And it somehow went to 17 instead of 1750. So I don't know what happened there. This printer is going to be the death of me. Level test. Print. Okay, clear that off. How it changed my whole point is I will never understand. Here we go. That looks a lot better. There we go. Still might be a little high, but we're getting closer. So I'm gonna stop this. Go back to tools. Leveling. Advanced setting. Maybe go. Let's do 17.60. We are so close. It actually looks loads better too. Not dribbling all over the place. So I definitely had damage to the hot end. So at least that's part of it fixed. All right, so I'm gonna sit down here. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty good. Kind of having a hard time seeing it though. Still a little tall. So we'll fix that. Go back to tools, leveling, and setting. We're gonna go up actually to $75. I think 75 is going to be the sweet spot. Okay, go back to printing. What is wrong with the screen? Level test. Print. There we go. Something's up with the screen now. I don't know what's wrong with this printer. It's like everything has decided to break. I mean, this is looking loads better than where it was beforehand, though, so I am happy about that. I will say we're getting to the hour 20 mark. So once this is up and running, I am going to call it quits. That's it. That's the setting. That looks fantastic. Gonna let it do one more round. Yeah, that looks so much better than where it was at before. So there's definitely something wrong with the nozzle. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run. We'll see how it goes. And I hope that this print comes back to life, or this printer comes back to life, and I don't have any more issues with it. We'll flip back to the main camera here. But if you joined me today, thank you so much for doing so. Definitely feel free to follow me on my other social channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I do the whole nine. So definitely feel free to check me out, follow me. I really appreciate it if you joined. And thank you so much, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.